Are we there? Are we there?
What? Did we do it?
Can you see me?
No, it's all gray.
Oh
Oh my
no.
God. Oh, I
Oh,
think we did. Oh, there you are, Joe. First of all, a moment for the cow, Udi, please.
thank
Okay,
you.
now we know
I
it's
can't believe what an evening. I can't even tell you. I've got fucking tripods. Am I allowed to swear on Instagram? I don't even know
Oh, I don't
what
know.
platform we're even
They're
on by
saying
this
no.
point. Honestly, what
Wait,
a
someone saying,
palaver.
oh my God, this is hilarious.
Literally, I changed my phone last week because people who follow me will know I just have the worst phone, and I just had all these lines across my screen because it was cracked, and just having it's almost like having the PTSD, you know what I mean, of having to sign up for everything again. And
I
anyway, we're here,
John
we're
Love,
here, you know.
yeah, yeah, you were working hard. I don't know who was working harder, you or all the followers trying to get likes and stuff. That was fantastic.
Guys, I really appreciate it, and I feel so bad for everybody because it's kind of a case of again, like TikTok and that kind of thing is really not my thing. So I feel really bad for the fact that everyone's kind of gone and followed it now, when I'm probably planning to just delete it in the morning anyway. But thank you very much anyway
No,
for your support.
I'm just gonna go. Everybody's saying for me to record my screen, so I think guys, do I have to do a screen recording, or is there an option in TikTok to record this while I'm talking? I don't. This is my second live on Instagram, so I have no idea.
Uh,
No one's saying, so I'm just gonna do a screen record. So hold on one sec. Okay, we're good. I'm screen recording.
good, good.
Fia got kicked off for that. Oh, it says I
Ah,
can live after, but I am screen recording just in case, I guess.
that's
Anyway, Joe.
it's lovely to be here with you finally.
Nice to meet you. I will preface this. I had no idea it would take us an hour to kind of get on and be able to chat, but welcome.
It's always the thing, isn't it? Like, you know, you always prepare and then the plan just kind of goes out the window. That's kind of a motto for my life, really. So, yeah, I just kind of get on with it. And yeah, I guess I was going to kind of start by saying to you how I just kind of wanted to make this very like quick and just get on with it. And we've literally created one of the biggest palavers in social media. So, like, trying to get on together. So I do apologize to everybody. But thank you very much, everybody who is tuning in. I understand we're going to probably talk about some things that, you know, aren't that nice today, but I really appreciate you giving me an opportunity to put my side forward, because I feel, in a way, it's been something that a lot of other media companies and quote unquote influencers have kind of been afraid to hear our side of the story, because the truth is it doesn't really make great media and it doesn't really make great story, but unfortunately it's the truth. So you know, I'm just going to give it to you, and as I said to you, hopefully we can kind of we can move past this, because I know obviously yourself and a few others have received, you know, a lot of flack for things that Fia said, and you know, maybe the way that she said them. And honestly, I'm not going to beat around the bush with you. I do think that it is a bit of a damning verdict that in 2022 people would rather, you know, would rather go to somebody who makes comments like that in front of millions of people on Instagram than, you know, to ask them how they feel about it, rather than going to the person who the comments were made about. But I hope by having conversations like this, and it's kind of one of the reasons why I wanted to get on with someone like you, because we are from such different backgrounds, we can maybe just plant a few seeds in people's minds and get a few, and maybe just take a few positives away from what's been a horrible couple of weeks for, I think, a lot of people involved. And if we can do that, then it makes this chat worthwhile. So thank you for having me.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for reaching out. I was really looking forward to this today.
That's good. Yeah, I see. It's crazy because we're on different time differences as well, and we did everything we've been doing everything we can all day to schedule up, and it was just it was always going to happen, wasn't it?
Yeah, but we're on, and everybody stayed. It looks like, so that's good.
Ah, here we are. I know. Honestly, like I said, it's just this whole journey has been so wild because I mean, we'll talk a little bit about obviously all the kind of the different bits of it, but the publicity is just not something that we're used to. And I said this on another interview that I did, a couple of weeks ago when all this kind of kicked off that, I'm not the type of, people keep saying, oh, I've never heard of Joe Ward, I don't know who Joe Ward is. And the truth is, unless you were in those kind of circles of child abuse or you watched our paedophile stings or anything like that, no, you probably wouldn't know who I was. I understand that, but it's not about that for me. It's never been about that for me. It's always been about helping victims. And I've had a long road to get here to this point, and so yeah, it's all of this is just really quite a bit weird for me.
Yeah. Joe, will you give us a little rundown of how, I guess before you get into how you got involved, but a little of your background, just so myself and everyone else knows too?
Yeah, of course. So it's sort of been, I guess, quite well documented over the last couple of weeks. I grew up in the entertainment industry. I guess in a way is kind of why I've got a natural instinct to kind of spot these snakes, the people that, the kind of what we call the hangers on. My dad was a traveling session musician, a producer and a writer. And, unfortunately, I suffered a rare form of child abuse at age 11. This kind of led to a long struggle with mental health, nearly took my own life at 23, and I just decided to leave the entertainment industry behind completely. It was just something, again, some of the accusations that have been leveled at me that I'm only doing this to further my career, I couldn't be further from the truth. Anyone that's followed me for a long time knows I've spoken out against the music industry and the evils within that many times. I hate the music industry. I can think of anything worse than being involved, and the truth is I've severed and burnt all my bridges so much that I could not do anything more for Julia's music career than anybody watching your Instagram could right now. But I've done a lot of exposing of the Thea Johansson and stuff over the last couple of days, and if people want to watch those videos, they can do that. I don't really want to give her as such too much oxygen now. I just want to move past this. But in terms of me, as I said, it led to the abuse that I suffered when I was young, led to a really difficult mental health struggle, and just decided to change my life completely, leave the industry behind, try and find a bit of grief within my purpose, and move my life on to helping other survivors like myself. I started in domestic violence homes, moved on to assisting with social service cases, advising on paedophile stings, and eventually moved into trafficking and faith-based abuse cases. I now work with the Supporting SRA Survivors team, where we help a lot of what you'd call sort of the most difficult abuse cases that sort of mirror my own, and assist a lot of victims that other people may ignore for reasons. But to date, I'm very proud to say that I've aided close to 2,000 survivors of all forms of abuse, including creating records and assisting victim support in legal cases. And I just want to be clear as well, because the word victim support's been thrown around a lot. I'm not doing a fear and claiming that I've helped the law enforcement. Victim support is something completely different, and again, we'll move on to that when we talk about Julia, but I just wanted to just make that point that victim support is something completely different to actually helping law enforcement. But we've been there, we've helped the victims, and done the work. I don't, this has been one of the most ridiculous things, is I don't have to justify the work that I've done, and it's why I haven't in any of the videos that I've done, because the work that I've done is out there and plain to see. I can't imagine anybody's investigation team is that great if they couldn't find our Supporting SRA Survivors page. It is pretty big. Our last documentary did well, you know what I mean? And as I say, we've got a great admin team of members from around the world who help with hundreds of cases every single year, and that's what we do. Life, I can't say to you now that life is perfect and I'm this amazing person, but part of this whole process of moving from somebody that was very much like Thea Johansson to somebody who now helps victims and survivors has been part of understanding myself and understanding that I, as a survivor, was a very destructive person. And again, I digress a little bit, but that just kind of gives you a bit of an idea of my background. If anybody does want to know my story in full, because obviously obviously there's quite a lot to it. You can visit our page at facebook.com/speakingouttohill, and we're an open book. As I said, we're all admins with different opinions, but with one goal: to aim, to end this kind of high level elitist sexual abuse. But we deal, as I said, all the way down the trickle effects to all victims of sexual abuse. So I hope that kind of clears up, some things for people watching.
Okay. Thank you for that. Okay, I know that I didn't know much at all, so I appreciate that.
Thank you. But it's okay. And as I said, it's a lot gets thrown around, and when you deal in these kind of high level cases and things that deal with the media coverage, a lot of accusations get thrown around. I think COVID denying conspiracy theorist was one of them, and I'm very open about my past, very open about the things that I've said previously. But as I've maintained all the way along, when it's come to Julia, everybody, all the people watching this, all the people, who are on Fia's side as well, they've all got opinions on what happened to Madeleine McCann, every single one of us. But when you work victim support, I can't work on what I think I know. No professional would do that. You work on what you do know. And I said that, on a video very early on, but it's just one of those things. I just feel like, again, I never wanted to, as I said to you, I never wanted to get involved in the publicity side of this. We got involved with Julia and we worked quite closely with her, and again, it's a point that I've made, but within 6 days of working closely with Julia, we were able to get her counseling, we were able to get her a psychologist's report, we were able to arrange DNA testing, which was then, that was the point where Fia really cracked down and said, okay, enough is enough. This guy's not working on the case anymore. Again, I don't want to speculate, because I don't want to give that woman any more oxygen about why she delayed the DNA as long as she did, but she did. And I'm not going to come here and lie to you. I don't care. Like I said to you, the difference between me and, no offense, but a lot of the influencers and the people who, by the way, a lot of them have jumped sides as well and said things and then unsaid things. But the difference between me and them is, in the morning, when this is all said and done, they go back to trying to make videos so people will like them, and I go back to helping victims. It makes no difference to me whether people like me, whether people will agree with me. At the end of the day, I have one job to do, and that's to help survivors and victims, and hopefully make people feel less alone. As I said, I'm in no way a perfect person. I make mistakes, and I didn't want to get involved in this, but with the amount of pathological lies that were told, and the amount of survivors that were getting in contact with me just saying they were absolutely outraged by some of the comments that were made, I just felt it was important to reach out to you and just say, look, you've covered one side of this. Why not give us a voice as well, And so that's all it was. And as I said, I don't want to take up loads of your time, but I just wanted the opportunity just to say that there is a different side of this. And yes, this whole situation, has become a circus, and it's become tit for tat, and it's become this one doesn't like this one, and this one's flip side, and this influence is siding with this person. But when it comes down to it, as I've said all along, there is no perfect victim, and people will have their own opinions on Julia even at this point. But one thing I will say is the work that I did with Julia and the time that I spent with her, I spent nearly, I don't even want to go into semantics, because Fia Johansson will probably release a video trying to disprove it. But I spent 6 days working close victim support with Julia, and I can tell you, she is vulnerable, and I just feel like that she was a prime target for someone like this to kind of jump on board. But I would say to people now who feel like, oh, I want to jump on Julia, or these horrible headlines, people like GB News and stuff like that, who by the way should be absolutely ashamed of themselves, because very early on in this, they posted what were Julia's confidential medical records that we'd provided for for her, and they, you know what I mean, who acts like that? I mean, you can understand to a certain extent why people on our side were a bit pissed off with this. And yeah, like I'm not proud of everything I've said, but at the end of the day, I'm only human, and as I said, I'm not one of these people who, you know, is constantly on social media trying to fish for likes. It's just not the work that we do. And if I say things that upset people, then I say things that upset people. But, you know, I mean, if anything should show you that I really don't care, as you said, it's this jumper. And I did want to address it, you know, like, because I know that you see, you kind of, you said in your live, you said it was a cow woody, and I was very impressed, actually. It was the only bit of the live that, because I'm going to be very honest with you, as I said, I actually didn't even have a TikTok account until this morning, and so I've been relying on screen recordings, because you know what it's like when someone says the first thing about you on any social media. If you've got any kind of following, instantly your inbox is just, this person said this, blah blah blah, and they're like screenshotting all this stuff. And so it was just, I just wanted the opportunity as well to speak with you, and just to say to your followers or anybody who might have thought that, you know, you were mocking me in any way, that me and you have spoken and everything is cushy. And as I said, I mainly just want to put all of this behind us and just get back to our work, because it's, the whole thing has got so tit for tat that we've moved, you know, we've moved away from what this was really about, which was helping Julia. So to anybody who, you know, is going to jump on Julia now and, you know, call her names, I would just say, please just remember there's no such thing as a perfect victim, because honestly, I can tell you from my own personal experience, I wasn't a perfect victim by any stretch of the imagination. So, you know, people make mistakes, and, you know, I just hope from all of this, because I have to be honest with you, I don't know whether Julia returning to her family is the right move in all of this. I do believe that there is some form of abuse within Julia's past. The psychologist that I worked with, because again, there's been a lot said about her, that's why I've tried to protect her details a lot through this, and, you know, covered her name and stuff in the information that we have put out. But I've worked with her on over 30 cases. She's somebody that I really trust. And if she says to me that there is, because I'm not a doctor, I'm not going to stand here and tell you that I graduated from any university or anything like that. But what our organization does do is we create records, as I say, and we help victims. And, you know, if our psychologist, who is very rarely wrong and I trust, says to me there's abuse in Julia's past, then I trust her. And as I said, I wish Julia all the best, and I'm always going to be here, you know, even if she's watching this now. You know, we built a good relationship and a good rapport, and this has never been about, you know, all of the Madeleine McCann stuff and all the publicity. If Julia called me up tomorrow and said, Joe, you know, I want help, I need the counselling, I would do exactly the same, just the same as I would if any of your listeners called me tomorrow and said, you know, I'm in trouble. Obviously, like I said, we deal with, you know, a specific form of child abuse now, which is obviously one that I suffered from, but we still have loads of great help, loads of great resources. And sorry, I'm not doing that whole link drop thing, but I just keep seeing people in the comments saying about the organization. So it's www.facebook.com/speakingouttoheal. So yeah, and about the hoodie, sorry, that was the last thing I meant to say, because I know you brought it up at the start. It's really stupid, but I was arrested in the year 2020, 3 years ago, right at the height of the pandemic, and for speaking out at a protest. Basically, long and short, I don't want to get this video taken down, so I'll paraphrase, but long and short, I was comparing the things that we were going through and the things that our government were putting us through to re-traumatizing victims. Obviously, this wasn't a very popular thought at the time, and I ended up getting arrested anyway, and we weren't allowed to be out and blah 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 and all this stuff. I represented myself in court and was able to actually get a not guilty verdict in September 2022. And to be honest with you, you know, when I stood there kind of as a survivor, with this cow jumper outside of court because it was what I was arrested in. You
Oh,
know, I just, yeah, I had this. It was I was having a really bad week. I'd had an argument with my partner at the time. Blah blah blah. I'm sure your listeners completely understand. And I just thought, you know what? I'm just going to turn up in my cow jumper. And you know, it's the classic thing that your mum always tells you: the one time you turn up in your pajamas, you will be arrested. And that was just the case with me. And you know, it was all this old cow man gets arrested, blah blah. Somebody even commented under the video like, that's the most vegan thing I've ever seen. So you know, I'm used to taking this shit. You know, it really makes absolutely no difference to me. But to stand there, you know, people who have listened to my story, or people who, you know, listen to this and go on to hear my story will hear that I had a very difficult time when I reported my abuse to law enforcement. So to stand there, you know, nearly 15 years later with my cow jumper, you know, to myself, it just made me feel safe and warm and, you know, happy. And so, you know, at the end of the day, like I said, it came to the point where I just couldn't care less. And you know, at the end of the day, my organization and our organization have helped more people with me in this cow jumper than a lot of people do in suits their entire lives. So I can sleep at night absolutely grand. You don't have to worry about me, honestly. Go and give someone else shit. You don't have to worry about me. But Julie, thank you so much. I've done so much talking, I just realized, but I just wanted to make sure, as I said, that I gave the victims and the survivors a voice today as well. And a big shout out as well to my team, Antler Dash, especially the supporting SRA team, Mabel, Jennifer, Spaz Barbie, all of those guys, the wonderful internet researchers who have just been an absolute blessing, because with all the extra work we do, I never would have had time to even come up with half of this research. So, you know, you guys, don't get me wrong, I know I've said that I'm not part of your world in any way, but I appreciate what you do. And look, I mean, at the end of the day, you're on a live with a guy in a cow jumper and you've got 330 people watching you, so there's obviously a place for this. So I massively respect you and respect your time. And sorry, I've done a lot of yakking, but if there's anything you want to ask or you want to know, I'm happy to answer any questions.
So I've tried through from the start of this to kind of be neutral and just kind of like relay what I find out or information and stuff like that. And I was lucky enough to have Fia reach out to me to share her views and her side of it. And through our conversations, when she gets going, like I was laughing, like, you know, like, like, I don't know if it's like just my personality or like hyper or uncomfortable or what it is, but like I just laugh. And somebody had taken like a portion of my video and shared it, or a few people, I think, saying that I was mocking you and what you've been through. And I just wanted to make sure you knew that like that was not the case at all. So the thing that I was laughing at was when I had gotten on the live, Fia had joked about your cow hoodie, I think she said. And somebody in the comments, like a few minutes later, said something like, how about that cow hoodie? And so I laughed and said, oh my word, somebody else just said down below. And I said, I think it's an Udi. And I said, I think it represents, or whatever. I can't remember what I said exactly, but at no point did I ever mean to come off that I was laughing at you or mocking you or like that. And I just that.
Absolutely not. I really appreciate you saying that and clearing that up. And look, people will, as I said to you, you know, people is part of the reason why I just don't get involved in any of this stuff. I got dragged into it this time, but I just don't get involved in the publicity aspect of it anymore, because there are just so many people fishing around for likes and fishing around. And I never wanted our organization to be about that. That's why I dress the way that I do. I talk the way that I do. And I'm honest, and I'll come here, you know, and I'll just tell you what you want to know, because, you know, that there is no point in hiding. At the end of the day, like I said, when I stop this, you know, there will still be internet researchers who will go on and they will investigate all of this stuff. And to be honest with you, that's good enough for me. One thing I will say to people though, before you laugh about anybody or any discussion talking about, you know, sexual abuse of any kind, I would just say, you know, the biggest tool of these abusers is silence. And one thing that your live with Thea did is it made us able to open this conversation now and to be able to have this, and for me to talk about the things that I've talked about today. So, you know, as far as I'm concerned, you've cleared it up. We had a chat earlier, and you know, I got the vibe from you straight away that you know exactly what it was. But this is the thing, as I said to you, this is the generation that we live in, the social media generation, where people take 13 seconds of a video and they turn it into something that it's not. And it will always happen, I guess. And like I said, there's obviously a market for it. But you know, I just hope after this people can can go back to finding something else to talk about, because really in all of this, I know in a way, as I said, it's been good entertainment for people, and you know, people love a story like this. And I can't say anything, because when I saw the Dr. Phil episode, that was the catalyst for this, because I was like, keeping my quiet. I was just like, look, I don't care, you know. I truth be told, first impression of Thea, knew something wasn't right straight away. But as I said in this video loads of times, it didn't really matter, you know, until she started exploiting Julia. It didn't really matter. I was only working victim support, just wanted to help Julia. We had the secure line. But the Dr. Phil episode, I mean, yeah, like I said, I acted like a human. It triggered me, like, you know, it triggered millions of people around the world to take interest in this case. So I'm only human. As I said to you, I say things sometimes that aren't the right things to say, just the same way as other people do. And even after all of this, I hope in some way that Thea can find some peace in all of this, because you know, this lifestyle, you know, of trying to take every scrap you can from, you know, celebrities and entertainment, it is such a live fast, die young attitude. And, you know, just take it from someone that was there, that grew up in it. It's not a nice way to be. It doesn't make you a happy person. So, you know, I feel like everything I'm saying here today, I'm really sorry, Julie, is really boring and just like plain, but I have to be honest.
And I think people need to hear a lot of this. Like, it's inspiring. It really is.
Yeah. So, thank you. But like I said, it's not, you know, it was never about that. And it's, you know, even the leaks, you know, because a few people have asked me, you know, about the leaks and stuff like that. And I said, you know, when we made the original video that, you know, you know, we've never had a problem. You know, in 7 years of me working with a team of people, or a similar team of people, it hasn't always been the same people, but, you know, similar groups of people that I trust, we've never had any leaks until this case. And I think in a way that just goes to show you the amount of interest in the Madeleine McCann case. Like I said at the top of this, everybody has an opinion, but I think at the base of it, good, honest, decent people, regardless of whatever you think happened, just want to know what happened to that little girl, and just, you know, want to solve this. Because I think one thing everybody can agree on, you know, is that it's gone on for so long without anybody knowing. So it would just be nice to put it to bed. But we as I said, and as I've tried to say before and tried to do, but I keep getting dragged out. But hopefully now the DNA is out as well, you know, that could you know, that can be a bit of an end to this. But as I've said, you know, we deal with lots of survivors, and there's always going to be someone that needs our help. So we will continue to work, and as I said, you know, always be here for Julia if she needs something. And you know, I think that's the true test. I think, you know, of our organization, as I said to you, that we'd pick the phone up in a week, a month, a year to Julia if she needed us, because this has never been about, you know, the publicity. So, you know, and again, you know, even I know that maybe some people might hear some of the things I've said today about influence or anything like that as a dig, and it's really not. I hold nothing against anybody. Truth be told, you know, I was upset, as I said, and I acted like a human towards Thea. But even at this point, I just feel like, you know, I hope that she moves on, and more importantly, I hope the internet investigators keep going. You know, so Thank you, Julie. I hear people are starting to say that boy really talks, and this is why I don't do stuff like this, because I can't shut up. I hope that people can see from this that, like, if nothing else, that I'm not built for this. Like I'm
Oh,
just
you
waffling.
did how inspiring your speech was. So I think you did fantastic.
Thank you, thank you. No, I really appreciate the time, as I said, Julie. And if there's, if there's ever anything else, that comes up, it's great to make your acquaintance. I know,
Oh,
as I said, that of course, now some of your listeners will go and they'll research some of my former work, and they might go, "Oh, no, that's not a guy that I particularly want to be associated with." But I can only say that we work with people of all different opinions, even on our own group, our own admin team. We have different, people who have different opinions on different things to do with life. It's the way that life goes. And I can't remember, but you said in one of your videos somewhere that, a real lost art is people who have different opinions, just being able to talk about things. And that was another reason I reached out to you, because I just thought that is so a bit of me. Like, I completely agree. I completely agree with that. I just think, maybe this, I'm a firm believer in life puts you where you're meant to be. And I think that people who really struggle, with mental health will know that you're never through it. And, you go through these cycles. And so I do try and put a lot of my trust in just knowing that, there is a future. And I just think, maybe this case has brought people who would never have usually got together, and we can hear different points of view, and hopefully people can go and research that on their own from this. And as I said, Julie, again, I know I keep saying it, but it really does mean a lot, because the side that a lot of people haven't seen of this is the amount of when the leaks went viral, and obviously the last couple of weeks when things have really been chucked around. The side that maybe people haven't seen of this has been the survivors that have emailed us every day saying, we're just glad somebody's talking about these issues, about missing children, about sex trafficking, because we feel less alone because of it. So please, people, if nothing else, just talk about it. Silence is the greatest tool of the abuser, and the only way that we can get into the light is by shining a light on them. So thank you for the opportunity today. I really appreciate it.
So much, Joe. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Julie.
Getting a lot of questions. Do you want to answer some before you go?
Yeah, I'm more than happy. I feel like I wasted an hour of everyone's time before we even did anything. So I've just been like bang, 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 bang. So yeah, by all means, if you have questions you want to ask, Julie, go ahead.
All right. So
I'll answer them as best I can.
We've done a great job covering stuff, but I know that as we were talking, there were a lot of people asking questions. But somebody just said, "What's Joe's line of work?"
So I still do a bit of session musicianship now. As I said, I'm not affiliated with any companies or anything like that. So I earn money through through a bit of session work, and then as I said, we run this organization as well. So it's but basically those are my line of work. Again, I'm very open about it. People might think, oh, entertainment, is that a link to something? No, it's like I said, the session work for bands that need musicians. We go out, we play parties, birthdays, stuff like that. In fact, Julie, if you ever have a birthday party or a wedding or a christening or anything like that, and you need a band or some musicians, give me a call and I'll be there. Please give me a call, because I know another thing that's been chucked around is like, oh, he must be paid to be doing this. If I'm paid to be doing this, then I'd have a much nicer cowardie. That's all I'd say, Julie.
One for
but no. And as I said, but yeah, that's it basically. I work session musician. I play parties, weddings, that kind of stuff, and fill in for bands when they need musicians. And then the other side of it. Oh, can I just say quickly as well, Julie, because I bothered to send you the email earlier. And one thing, I said I've done a lot of exposing, but one thing I didn't mention in my video was this, and again, it might put this whole music entertainment thing to bed, was about this Nomad music company that Julia said that I'm part of and run, they have, first of all, I've actually sent you the emails. So if you want to corroborate anything that I've said to you after this, or even call me a liar after this, you can. It's all in your inbox. I emailed it to you beforehand, but I actually have emails from the Nomad agency. We tried to get in contact with them because very early on in this investigation, they were the only email listed for Julia. So when my friend obviously told me about this case, I emailed them, and I had emails back from them, which I've sent to you, with them actually directing me to Thea Johansson. So Thea must have had some kind of conversation with Nomad Music and must know who they are. So why she would claim that I own them, first, when they're based with a .se website and email, which I believe is Germany or Holland or somewhere like that. I'm sure people can search that, but it's not even based in the UK. And as I said, the fact that I would be involved in anything to do with high level entertainment is absolutely ridiculous. But as you know, you only have to go on our page and see the work that I've done to speak out against that. So I hope that clears up some of the questions. And as I said, if anyone wants to see the expose videos, I'll leave them up and they can go and do that. But I don't really want to waste any more oxygen kind of going down the whole exposing everything to do with fear angle again. It's done, you know.
So somebody's asking what kind of music you do, what kind of music you play.
Party music, but if you want a session musician, someone to play keyboards, you know, I'll come and play in your band. You know, a lot of sort of rock bands and bands, you know, whether it be you know, big bands, stuff like that, they hire in session musicians to work for them. You know, it's quite a well-known thing, and you know, my dad did it, and it's something that I do. And yeah, I have a small function band on the side where we go out, and as I said, we play parties, weddings, even did a funeral a couple of years ago. I mean, if you're having a party for it, you know, we'll play it. And this is one of the most ridiculous things as well, Julie, about anyone trying to sort of say that I hide anything about my life, because as I said to you at the top of this, everything's out in the open there for people to see. I mean, even with the arrest and everything that happened there, you know, you only have to type it into Google and the information comes up, and you can see, you know, everything about there, and it has all about my function band listed there as well. So these aren't things that, you know, these aren't things to hide. These are just, you know, as I said, no more than I could say. My father was a musician and I'm a musician, you know, and I couldn't do, and I reiterate the point that if you look at the things that I've said and the bridges that I've burnt, I could no more, you know, do anything for anyone's music career than you or the people watching this could, you know. So that's a ridiculous accusation to make.
Now, somebody's asking where they can find your content. So would that be your foundation's Facebook page?
Yes, so the Supporting SRA Survivors page that we run, which obviously, as I said, that covers a specific form of child abuse, which is obviously elitist and faith-based abuses, is www.facebook.com/speakingouttoheal. We've also got a lot of great documentaries. My story, In the Name, the Joe Ward story, is up there as well. So if anybody wants to go and watch that after this to, you know, pick holes in anything I've said, or even just because they're interested, they can go ahead and do that there, along with, you know, if you are a survivor watching this and, you know, you're afraid to speak out, because I know that a lot of survivors wrote to us and they said the way the mainstream media have handled this, you know, pumping out confidential information, you know, that should have never been made public, you know, when survivors already have a hard enough time coming forward and speaking out, you know, as I know from my experience. It's just behind the scene, great entertainment for people, but there has been another side of this, as I said, where, you know, that maybe people haven't seen. So I'm just glad we could shine a light on that today. So again, yeah, or if you know, if you're struggling and maybe, you know, you want to speak, but your case isn't to do with sort of high level child abuse, it's just anything from domestic violence, social services, you can contact me at facebook.com/Joe Ward Official. I've also got a Telegram. I just want to shout out to you earlier as well, because I couldn't stop laughing, and I was really angry because I was trying to sign up for an email and it was just saying your email is rejected, use another email. And then when I just heard you say that, I just thought, look, if it's meant to happen, it will just happen tonight. I can't be bothered to stress about this. You know,
Literally everybody was like, it's an app, it's an app, it's an app. I was like, oh my God, I'm old.
But for those who do know what Telegram is, I'm already seeing people saying, oh no, not Telegram, because I know it is very much like billed as like a right-wing kind of conspiracy site. But if you do want to come and visit me at Telegram, you can do that at Joe Ward Official as well. But as I said, no hard feelings to anybody or anything that's been said. You know, I news with Chris, I can't get my head around Telegram. I think this Telegram thing is one of those you either know about it or you don't. Also, news with Chris as well. While I'm on here, Chris Chandler, contact me, dude, because I know a lot of shit's been chucked around about things that, you know, you've said about me or I've said about you. But if you want to speak or you want to talk, I was kind of hoping to put this to bed tonight after this. But if you've got anything you want to talk about, then that's fine. But as I said, there's no hard feelings between me or anybody really to do with this now. I'm just going to close the book on it. I hope everyone can find peace. Julia, if you're listening, we're here for you. And survivors, you know, if you want to get in contact, do. But you know, that's all I can really say on that. And our content, really, you know, as I said, Instagram, not really my bag. Twitter, during the whole COVID-19 thing, you know, as I said, when you had controversial views on that, Twitter wasn't really the sort of place to be. So, and that's fine now, you know, but it is what it is. But we got to Instagram today, and this is my first experience of Instagram. And yeah, but no, that's it. And for those people who have followed me on TikTok, don't worry, I'm not going to change my account and start trying to sell you supplements or anything now. It's getting deleted. I don't have enough time as it is without having a TikTok account, so don't worry about that.
Joe, this has been absolutely lovely. I so appreciate you reaching out so I could apologize and clarify that, you know, that is absolutely was not my intentions at all. And that people thought that was just, it was really devastating to me, to be honest. But yeah, hopefully people know my heart and watch my content and realize like that's not what was meant at all.
That's it. And also, like I said, hopefully, you know, people who have tuned into this and have listened to it, thank you so much, by the way, if you have tuned in and listened to this. I know, I know, you know, as I said, we've covered some subjects, but hopefully people will have a listen to this, and you know, maybe a few of them will think next time there is a survivor involved, you know, maybe we should, you know, deal with this in a different way and listen to all the facts and listen to conversations like this, rather than 13-second clips where, you know, you're never going to get the full case of the story. I'm sure I could probably start a fight with every single TikToker that said anything about me over the last 3 weeks with just a 10-second clip of something they've said, you know. So please, Judy, go on and don't even think about it. As far as I'm concerned, as I said, if you ever need anything in the future or any case comes up to do with this, it's just a pleasure to be able to come on platforms like this. You know, again, I'm probably going to say something that not a lot of people want to hear here, but the high level of child abuse, the real elitist high level of child abuse, doesn't get enough light shone on it. So whatever people's views on it, thank you very much for giving me a platform to talk about this today.
Thank you, Joe. Yeah, thank you. Seriously. Take care.
Been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure. Take care, Julie.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in as well. I really appreciate it. And thank you for all the supportive messages as well.
Take care.